This is the Washington Times front page for Thursday, February 26, 2026. Thanks for joining us. I'm George Gerbo. President Trump insists Iran's nuclear program was obliterated by last year's airstrikes, but his special envoy to the Middle East, Steve Witkoff, says Iran is about a week away from having enough enriched uranium to build a nuclear bomb. Ben Wolfgang reports the president's assertion that the U.S. wiped out Iran's nuclear program, which he repeated during his State of the Union address, seems to be at odds with the facts on the ground and the consensus among national security insiders. Recent reports and satellite images suggest at least some key Iranian nuclear sites not only still exist, but are also being fortified in an attempt to withstand another round of bombing. Perhaps the best evidence the president is inaccurate, U.S. negotiators are scheduled to meet with their Iranian counterparts in Geneva on Thursday with the goal of, among other things, putting new limits on Iran's nuclear ambitions and specifically its ability to enrich uranium. The Trump administration says it will reconstruct its trade system with durable duties that penalize nations for unfair practices a day after President Trump told Congress that import levies would remain front and center in his economic agenda. Tom Howe reports what specifically that means is still unclear. His decision to forge ahead drew a rebuke from China, which said it would not hesitate to retaliate. The president is recalibrating after the Supreme Court ruled he usurped Congress's taxing power by invoking the International Emergency Economic Powers Act to impose nation-by-nation levies. Republicans say Democrats are trying to appeal to voters on affordability while simultaneously promoting higher taxes that raise the cost of living. In Virginia, Kerry Pickett reports Democrats are pushing to raise taxes across income brackets, which Republicans say will make the Commonwealth unaffordable. The proposals would establish new tax brackets and raise the top income tax rate from 5.75% to 10% for individuals earning more than $1 million annually. Virginia Governor Abigail Spanberger claimed in her State of the Union response that American families have had to pay more than $1,700 each just in increased costs because of the president's tariffs. The different strategies about potentially impeaching President Trump point to a bigger tension inside the Democratic Party. Seth MacLachlan reports some members say impeachment talk could blow up the party's chances in races it needs to win. Others say going after the president publicly is exactly what the base needs to hear and could reshape the political map in Democrats' favor. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries has been trying to change the subject. His thinking is straightforward. Even if most Democratic voters are on board with impeachment, making it a centerpiece could cost the party competitive seats it needs to retake Congress. And finally, Russia is working to build a large-scale drone factory in neighboring Belarus, presenting the project as a step toward strengthening the national security and economy of its closest ally. Guillaume Patak reports Kremlin Deputy Chief of Staff Maxim Oreshkin said the plant could produce up to 100,000 drones per year once fully operational. Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko has publicly welcomed the proposal, with decisions to follow on site selection and implementation details. Although framed as an industrial development initiative, the announcement underscored the accelerating integration of Belarus into Russia's military-industrial ecosystem amid sanctions and the ongoing war in Ukraine. Find all today's front page stories at WashingtonTimes.com/front page or on the Washington Times app, and find us wherever you get your podcasts. You can also find us on social media at Wash Times for breaking news, sports, commentary, and more. For the Washington Times, I'm George Gerbo.